Okay, so I've got a special treat for everyone today. I've been wanting to do this one for a minute, but I needed the right energy to do it.
The right energy.
Yeah, so we're covering Richie the Barber again, like the fabled clown. We did part one of this over a year ago. Kevin and I covered this guy, and he was just pretty chill at that point. This guy, for anyone who doesn't know him, was on America's Got Talent. He's did some clown tricks and rode around on a unicycle and all this shit. He's been a known figure for some time, but I needed to cover him again because there's been some new developments. So this guy has his whole face tattooed like clown makeup.
Yeah, he's pretty cool looking.
Essentially, well, I mean that's teach their own, right?
I like his shades in this one picture.
If you like clowns, I think the cross is new. I don't think that was always there. I think that's a blast over.
A new addition?
I believe so.
Okay.
I could be wrong, as our clown friend has found Jesus.
Yeah, well, it looks like pretty fresh in this picture, so.
It looks fresh, but old as fuck.
Oh, I mean...
Right? Like it's like, get me something that looks like it was tattooed in 1987.
The general quality of the tattoos is old as fuck, right?
Which is interesting because I think this guy does okay for himself. So it's one of those, how come the tattoos don't translate? You know what I mean?
The thing that I'm finding like really weird about this guy, like looking at this like full body shot, is the most of his coverage is on his face.
Yeah, this is something that Kevin and I talked about last time, was like he doesn't have much work on him to have a full face tattoo.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, like that's the most covered part of his body, and it looks like he's even got some modification in his eyebrows.
Yeah, the eyebrows are modified. Yeah, we covered that in the first one where he has his eyebrows permanently fixed in a surprise position.
Excellent.
Yeah, so apparently that was incredibly painful to have done.
I bet.
Also has a lot more piercings than he had the last time I encountered our friend the clown. With all of this said, the reason I'm covering him again is he's recently been showing up doing some evangelism, praising the word of Jesus. Coming out kind of real right-wing. I'm not going to go heavy politics on this, but he's found Jesus and he's been saved, and he's been very vocal about it. So it's not just that he's found it and he's personally happy with this. And this is where I take a little bit of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for here is, but I don't like when people get preachy.
Yeah,
I don't like it about anything.
I'm a big fan of do what you want unless it affects me.
Well, so I heard a crazy story about a guy who had a Baphomet on his page, and apparently he flew off at them over it.
How does it affect you, though?
I find,
I hate people like that.
I find it gets a little bit silly for me because we're in the absurdity. It's like if I was telling someone that it was wacky for them to have a pink bodysuit. You know what I mean? Like, relax, buddy. You're a literal clown face.
If you were getting mad at someone for like what they're wearing or the way they adorn themselves,
to me, this is flavoring.
So strange, yeah.
But like, it doesn't really surprise me that much that someone who's into heavy body mod could get into heavy religion. Because these are usually identity monikers.
Yeah, so I wonder if he had like a life event that led him down that path, like a life or death situation.
To me, it's. I think he's found a woman that's into this.
Oh, do you think he's a bit of a chameleon?
Yeah,
he molds himself to the people he's with.
I don't know that that's always the case, but this reminds me of like, there's an episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza's trying to be Latvian Orthodox to get with the woman. Only if George had made it. Like if he had have actually been the woman's partner.
Right.
And now he has to do the whole thing. Like that's what this reminds me of. It's like, it's almost like the joke has gone too far. Now, I'm sure he's I'm sure I'm just semi joking, but like I'm sure he actually believes this stuff.
Oh yeah.
And there's no harm in my opinion and whatever makes you happy, like if that's going to be religion or whatever. But from a very nihilistic standpoint, I don't have a lot of this. So this whole identity thing that this has been for him, where he's wearing these Jesus saves and what is it? There's a shirt that he has. It's something like, I think we got a picture of it here. Just let me see if I can find it. Hallowed be thy gains. So it's like he's getting into shape and he's found Jesus, and these are big parts of his identity. Getting into shape didn't do that for me either. Like getting bigger, growing.
Yeah.
I didn't take that as an identity moniker either.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? But like for some people, what they're eating that day is their life.
Yeah, I
You know
mean,
what I
like
mean?
I'm straight edge and I like live it.
Yeah, but
and that always kind of is a interesting thing. But I like so this guy, like, I am not a religious person by any means, but I do think
I wouldn't say so.
right. I do think that religion needs more different folks to be part of it. And I hope that whatever he's part of is really inclusive to him. And I hope that a message of the way you look doesn't always have to affect like who you are as a human being.
Well, I would say that, but he's been incredibly judgmental.
That's the problem that really rubs me the wrong way, is because like we want acceptance, and then this guy's going around boycotting people for.
I'm not going to go in hard one way or the other on this next thing, but he's been very critical about just in some of the captions I was reading about, and some of these podcast clips that I seen him on about people changing their genders and things like this.
Oh, really?
Now, again, I'm not going in hard on the paint on that on either side, but all I'm saying is, like, if you're going to be like looking super modified yourself, you're going to go out on extremes like this. I don't think that you should be the guy that's telling anyone else what to do with their body.
Oh yeah, no, exactly.
It's a bad look.
For me, always at the end of the day, like people who are like him, I always want to be like, how does it affect you? Like,
I mean,
shut your mouth and leave people alone.
To me, it's just the irony on the
Like,
matter. It's not about.
It is very ironic.
To me, it's not like, oh, that's bad or that's good to have to think that way. It's like, if you're in an extreme where you're pretty polarizing yourself,
Yeah.
I think some modesty would suit you better.
Oh, exactly. Especially because I'm sure that he probably whines about people judging him by the way he looks.
I don't know that that's necessarily true. Like for me, for example, I don't care. Like I made my life, I did it my own way. I had face tattoos 13 years ago.
Oh yeah, early on.
Didn't matter to me. Like I didn't care that I had to be in the back of house. Like I didn't complain about that once. In fact, I've gone on record to say that if you're saying you can't get a job because of your tattoos, you're not looking hard enough.
Oh yeah.
It
just means that you don't want to work in the back of Burger King.
The point is that when you look different yourself, usually you're more forgiving and accommodating of other people.
Usually.
Yeah, you're not going to be super confrontational or hateful to other people who are, maybe making choices that people don't understand because you've been on the other side of that.
Yeah.
So I don't quite understand that part of this.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I find it hard to wrap my head around, the clown preacher, and trying to take that seriously.
There's a lot of identity politics going on with all of this messaging for me, where avid Trump supporter, it's almost like I'm looking for a place to belong. Like all of this is like, to me, it's like I found people that accept me and I'm towing the line for them now.
Or like a new niche to try and stick yourself in, and now you're the only tattooed clown preacher because you were unique in your own. I don't even know.
I'm a clown. I'm a barber. I'm a I'm into Jesus and I'm all about the gains. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
He's collecting little trophies.
these are all just identity monikers to me. Like, it's like, I need these, like, if I show these off, I belong to these things.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, for me, it's like, you're a round person, right? Like, you have all of these things, but they don't define you. They shouldn't define you.
Right.
And if they do, I feel like you need to do a little bit more soul searching in yourself. Like, I don't need any of those things.
Right.
And people will be like, oh, all you are is tattoos. No, that's all I show because I run this like a business.
Yes.
Right?
Well,
I like
is
many things, you know.
That is Remy. Remy is tattoos, but
Right, that's my
Jeremy is so many other things.
My brand doesn't need Jesus and weight gains and fucking clowns and fucking whatever else, cutting hair and like, I don't know. That's fine if that's all true to you, and maybe it is. But to me, public and private life are different things. And I think that when you don't have any separation there, that's bad too. Like, I want some of my personal interests for me.
I'm yeah.
So
I'm wondering now, like, I mean, you've been obviously reading his social media and stuff.
I didn't read a ton of it. I've seen clips in my feed of him evangelizing and beating the drums and praying to Jesus and doing the Lord's work. And I'm not quite understanding what happened in the last year.
I just wonder if he's having, like, if there's any regret.
Well,
to his modification decisions. Like, obviously
he's
not
going farther in though.
Well,
I
it's just
seen he
crazy
got
to
some
me.
more
I
work
just
done.
the two things do not mix in my mind, and that's just my previous.
Well, I mean, there's so much in the Bible that doesn't forgive this kind of behavior. But then there's other parts of it that does, right? So you can take what you want from it.
The understanding of the Bible is that it's very selective, right? And they preach what they want. You know, again, not religious, but if you paid attention to, you know, religion, you would know that Jesus hung out with prostitutes biblically. That those were the people he hung out with. So, like, a guy like this, he probably would have hung out with.
Sure, I've got no problem with that.
But religion doesn't promote that.
My biggest issue with this
typically.
whole thing, and it will be this way for anything like this, when people jump in this quick to anything, it gives me pause.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, whoa, what happened there?
Right. Well,
It's
that's why I wonder if he had, like, a near-death experience, or, like, you know,
even
did
then,
he
like,
experience something that made him say, "Oh wow, there's something else"?
someone's going to be like, you talk to Jesus, it'll change your life.
Right.
It's like, you're going to find Jesus and you'll go overnight. No, because I have a pretty fucking good idea of who I am.
Right. Or did he, like, have a psychedelic moment? Or
Oh,
like...
I've had lots of those, and that's...
Well, you didn't find God.
Yeah. I feel like
But some people do.
When you know yourself very well, I feel like you don't change this much this quickly. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
that's
the whole identity lifts overnight.
The chameleon idea, right?
I think it's like deeply looking for somewhere to belong and feeling like you finally found something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And while I can appreciate that, it also makes me worry. Like, it makes me worry whenever I see that, because I feel like the same thing happens with drugs as well. You know what I mean? Drugs or whatever, alcohol. Like, people cope. It is what it is, but I hope that I'm wrong on this one, but it doesn't seem like sound reasoning to me to be this far in after a year ago when Kevin and I were talking about this guy. It was just a sad clown looking for love.
Yeah, I think
like, his biggest gripe was that it was hard to find partnership.
I mean, to me, it wouldn't be a big deal. But it seems like he's being pretty toxic to other members of the community, and I think that's when it becomes a big deal.
Well, it's because religion and politics often go hand in hand, and that's been the case here.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it always happens, but a lot of times one invites the other, and we get this weird thing that is somehow accepting of me and hateful towards everything else.
Yeah, and
It's a weird thing.
the world needs to move away from that.
Yeah, I would say that if you found something that accepts you for the weird fuck that you are, that means that you should be accepting of every
all the other weird fucks out there.
Yeah, that's me. Like, to each their own, always, not just when it works for you.
Yes.